Mr. Nichols, I wanted to just extend the question that I directed to Mr. Kavanaugh earlier about the differences within regions, the variations in rural markets. A benchmark payment rate based on average negotiated rates for a region, in my view, appears to be the most simple, the most predictable framework. But do you believe that a benchmark rate based on negotiated rates within a region adequately accounts for those variations that we see within the rural markets? And can you speak more broadly to the impact of such a model where you have few providers and few insurers?
Yeah, as you know, we do not support that sort of
Right.
approach, and we do believe that, and address this to Senator Collins and Senator Cassidy when they were here, if you set a national rate, it will not acknowledge local conditions. It will not acknowledge a place like Alaska. We fear the harm it will do most, and Senator Collins mentioned this, is to rural America, where prices are higher, margins are smaller, and the danger of something going wrong here is far greater than it is elsewhere. There are some untested ideas being discussed here, and we need to make sure whatever we do does no harm to rural America. That's why we think that get the patient out of the middle of this. We all agree with that. I don't think there's any disagreement whatsoever. We think of the approaches that the committee's talked about, that arbitration is the best one. Anything with a benchmark rate, however it's described, however it's defined, will create, I think, a significant problem for rural America.
I would like to clarify one thing very quickly, if I could. The arbitration system and benchmark system included in the HELP bill both reference the local in-network rate as the benchmark rate. And so when we think about an arbitration system and when we think about a benchmark rate, they're both based, at least the guidance to an arbiter would be based on the same thing that the benchmark would be, which is, again, a local rate. So I do think that's worth emphasizing.
I'm going to ask Mr. Nichols and then Ms. Bartlett very quickly to, it sounds like a rebuttal.
Well, a question that I answered earlier from Senator Hassan, that's why we don't like that rate that's in that bill as it relates to having a benchmark. We think there should be no benchmark. It should be arbitration and negotiation between two parties, and one of them will win, one of them will lose. There will not be a benchmark. That's why we think that that's the better approach that is in the Cassidy and Hassan bill and your bill.
Senator Murkowski, if I may add one thing, within Montana, this legislation was passed in the 2017 session, and there have been no cases go to arbitration.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Let me go to the